Welcome back, Truth Seeker. We're going to see if we can sneak a broadcast in here. Times are a little bit different these days. Mama's taking a nap, and our sweet little lady here is doing the same. Let me make sure my audio's coming through loud enough because I'm using my extra quiet voice tonight. Thanks, Open Up. Am I talking loud enough, or do I gotta take it up a tone? Audio's good? All right, we're gonna do it with the baby music and all. You know, a year ago, Sweet Lady's family was doing a prayer for Thanksgiving that a baby would come into Sweet Lady's life, and almost a year to the day later, the prayer was delivered. So if you've never been a parent before, it is very time consuming. Make sure when you got a little one on the way, you are prepared to dedicate your time. Okay. I've been wanting to talk about this, and shout out to King Richard. King Richard gave us a jump start on this. I regret that I didn't look into Project 2025 sooner. I knew the Heritage Foundation was behind it, and I thought, well, what more is there to say with the Heritage Foundation being behind it? If you're not familiar with the Heritage Foundation, they are pretty much the think tank of the Republican Party. It's very possible in your life you've helped contribute to the Heritage Foundation without even realizing it. So many door-to-door salesmen might be selling chocolates. They might be selling thank you cards. In the fine print somewhere, you might find the Heritage Foundation. Heritage Foundation raises money in all kinds of sneaky ways, and they don't even tell you that they're the Heritage Foundation. But anyhow, if you're not familiar with the Heritage Foundation, look them up. Very powerful think tank that's been around since the 70s. Became very influential under Ronald Reagan's administration. And of course, Donald Trump has so many parallels to Ronald Reagan. Hollywood actors who both ran on Mega. And yeah, so look at this, you guys. Look at this. Project 2025, that's gotten so much attention, was drafted on Queen Elizabeth's last birthday, April 21st, 2022. She would die later that year on the Virgin Mary's birthday, September 8th. But that was her 96th birthday. And of course, 96 is no slouch of a number. It's special to Freemasonry. And of course, DC is the Masonic city. But I want to bring this all together. Again, if you're new here, the practice of coding numbers into words, Gematria, comes from Kabbalah. And Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. And again, DC is the Masonic city. But notice, Heritage Foundation equates to 96. Again, this was drafted on the Queen's 96th birthday. It's well known that the royal family is Masonic. It's also known that nearly every U.S. president has bloodlines connecting with the royal family. Heritage. So again, April 21st, 2022 was the Queen's 96th birthday. And if you're new here, the word Freemason equates to 96. And this is noteworthy because the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the top 3 degrees are 31, 32, and 33. And if you add those 3 numbers together, it equates to 96. 96. Just like the word Freemason has a Gematria value of 96. And again, if you are new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You learn this system, you see through the rituals. For the record, Satanism also equates to 96. And again, Mega is the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And again, if you're new here, go back and look at April 30th, 2011. That was the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan. It was also the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner in the time of Obama, who invited Donald Trump to the dinner that night and told a joke about how Donald Trump would become number 45, as in the 45th president, 45 days before Trump's birthday, again on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan. So Freemasons, Satanism, both 96 in the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order. There's been many of 33rd degree Freemasons who've been whistleblowers and said it gets pretty satanic at the top. Now, interestingly enough, the head of the Heritage Foundation right now is Kevin David Roberts, and his birthday is June 24th. That is also modern Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th. Of course, that's also John the Baptist's birthday, and it's part of the reason they overturned Roe vs. Wade on that day in 2022. Baptisms, babies, Roe vs. Wade, ritualism. But of course, the Heritage Foundation's been trying to overturn Roe vs. Wade. And by the way, Heritage Foundation was established the same year that Roe vs. Wade happened in 73. I don't think that's a coincidence. Funny enough, from Freemasonry's birthday and also Kevin Roberts' birthday to the election this year was 134 days later. Remember, Make America Great Again equates to 134. So exactly 134 days, again, after the birthday of him, the head of the Heritage Foundation, the institution that drafted Project 2025, this perfect ritual. And again, if you're new here, Trump's last election that he won was the 58th. Freemasonry equals 58, like secret society. The first degree of Freemasonry is the apprentice. So just think about the ritualism here. All right. Now, in light of this document being drafted on the Queen's birthday, I just want to go down memory lane. Prince died on the Queen's birthday, the year that Trump won the 58th election. And again, Prince had the song Black Donald Trump. Prince, royalty, the Queen's birthday. But notice, from the Queen's birthday, the same day Prince died, to the day Trump came out at the GOP convention in Cleveland, like Grover Cleveland, the only other split-term president. But again, from the Queen's birthday and Prince's death to Trump coming out to Queen, we are the champions, was 88 days later. And again, if you're new here, just using the most simple cipher, Trump, Elizabeth, purple, they all equate to 88. Of course, purple's the color of royalty. Prince with purple rain. For the record, the Republican Party is 88. Like Masonic rituals, 88. DC is known as the Masonic City, named after the Freemason George Washington, another 88. Remember, 8 is a number that represents power. These secret societies have immense power. And just another reminder, with regards to that being the 58th U.S. presidential election, where Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower, again, this Masonic theme, purple rain equates to 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like secret society. And again, all of these things are absolutely related. Again, the royal family is Masonic. Queen of England also equates to 58. Think about Mr. Purple Rain dying on the Queen of England's birthday. And of course, Oprah Winfrey's another 58, and she asked Trump in the year 88 if he'd want to be president someday. She was central to the election in 2016, and she was central to the election in 2024. Again, Trump supposedly got 312 electoral college votes, going with the fact that Chicago's the 312. It's home to Oprah. It's where Obama came to power. It's where Kamala had the DNC. We all know what they did to Candyman, the movie set in Chicago, the day that the election was called for Trump. But yes, Oprah was also in The Color Purple, the film. And when Bill and Hillary conceded to Trump in 2016, they came out wearing purple. And remember, with regards to the whole satanic connection, both Trump and Hillary Clinton were in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood the night of the 2016 selection, which was not only by the numbers, but color coordinated. Again, some people watch these videos and they say, what is the point of knowing this? If you have to ask that question, again, time to clean out the pineal gland. The point is, all of this stuff is ritualism, and it's planned out, and it's highly symbolic. And let's keep moving on about actually getting to the Project 2025 part. Again, just some headlines here. The special relationship between U.S. presidents and the royal family. How Donald Trump for years used the royal family to gin up publicity for his properties. Watch Trump shows off royal family pictures as he praises the king. That one's from days after the selection this year. And with regards to royalty, don't forget that Trump had his convention in the Cleveland Cavaliers Stadium right after LeBron James, aka King James, won the NBA Finals on the real King James's birthday, when the real King James died at 58, and he was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian. And something I learned actually that's wild, in the King James Bible, there are 48 mentions of the color purple. 48 in the King James Bible. Again, Donald Trump has the Gematria 48, as does Cleveland, as does James. For the record, Wall equals 48. You might recall LeBron came out with the show The Wall right after he won the finals, and Trump had his convention there. And I don't know why I didn't put it up there, but the word Freemason is also 48 in the same cipher that Cleveland is. The plot thickens, realizing what's in the King James Bible. So, with regards to this being the election of the 47th president, and so much attention going to the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025, isn't it interesting that the Heritage Foundation was established on the 47th day of the year, February 16th, a date that can be written 2/16, and of course Cleveland is the 216 area code. And notice that was just days after Roe v. Wade was passed. In fact, it was 25 days after Roe v. Wade was passed, and again, 25, Project 2025. Of course, in Gematria, Trump equals 25. We just saw the headline the other night that Trump has proposed 25% tariffs for Mexico and Canada to start in 2025. 25% on the 25th was the news. And again, in Gematria, Trump equates to 25 as well. But yes, the Heritage Foundation, which is a Christian right-wing think tank, in Project 2025, they propose a more Christian government. And again, that obviously violates the idea of separation of church and state. But again, like George W. Bush told us over 20 years ago, the Constitution's nothing but a piece of paper. And as we saw in the time of the last Trump administration, essentially communism was ushered in under the guise of a pandemic. So again, the Constitution's nothing but a piece of paper. And it looks like we really are heading towards something that's much more of a religious government. I mean, it always has been if you really look at it, but a lot more so. And you can see how this whole game's being played with, issues like abortion. That they need the abortion issue to keep people voting for the left and the right. But yeah, the Heritage Foundation, created right after Roe v. Wade. Again, if you're new here, Roe v. Wade was decided January 22nd, 122, 122 days after Jane Roe's September 22nd birthday. Abortion in Gematria equals 122. The other year, just before it got overturned, you had the Samuel Alito memo leak on May 2nd, 5/2, the 122nd day of the year. And consider that May 2nd date can be written 2/5, like 25. Again, part of Project 2025 is to essentially get rid of abortion altogether in the United States. We'll see how far it goes. These things will always create political battles and keep people going from one side to the next. But yes, the Heritage Foundation has never gotten so much attention as it has for the election of the 47th President of the United States. Hold on, I'm going to check something real quick, Truth Seeker. Okay, we're good. Okay, but again, all this attention on the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. And again, for all the people out there going like, oh, well, Trump denounced it and said that's not him. Again, anybody who doesn't know about these things, like how powerful the Heritage Foundation is and how they essentially are the Republican Party and they essentially make all of its policies, and that's been that way for decades, it just shows you how little information the average voter has. And again, this is why the powers that shouldn't be who rule this nation, they don't allow the votes to count. That's why they have rigged selections. They're not going to let ignorant people who know nothing about nothing have any say in any matter. And again, once I heard that Project 2025 was the Heritage Foundation, I just thought, well, what else is there to say? That's the Republican Party's brain. Well, let me see if I got a sip of water somewhere. Shoot, I don't. All right, but yes, 47th day of the year. Christian 47. A big focus of Project 2025 is to bring in a more Christian government. Again, this was written on Elizabeth's last birthday, Elizabeth 47. Remember, the royal family is the head of the Church of England, so they definitely have a religious component as well as a Masonic component. Again, the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. 47 is important to Masonry. I need some water. Shoot. Again, the 47th problem of Euclid, studied by the Masons. To be a Mason, you must believe in God. You got the capital G in the Masonic logo, which is symbolic of geometry, Gematria, Gnosticism. Again, if you're not familiar with the Masons logo, capital G. With instruments of geometry. Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, means geometry and language. But yes, Christian, Elizabeth, Trump, all 47. Go back to 2016. He was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel. 1 second, I gotta grab some water, Truth Seeker. Okay. Okay. So again, Project 2025. Okay, just how all these things fit together again. Christian agenda written on Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Trump with all the Masonic rituals around him. Whew. I can't get it together with the throat. But again, the Masons, the 47th problem of Euclid, all the jokes, the first degree of Freemasonry, the apprentice, Trump, the honored apprentice. The average American has no idea about Freemasonry's history with the founding of this nation or even the city that is the capital city. A lot of this stuff just hiding in plain sight. But again, you had Trump saying this back in 2020. He's done more in 47 months than Biden's done in 47 years. Remember, Joe Biden took office in 72. Well, he won the 72 election, which was also the 47th U.S. presidential election. Then he was in D.C., the federal government, for 47 years before he became the president himself. He took office with Obama at age 47. Kamala ran to be number 47. She still could become number 47 if he resigns. The only president to resign was Richard Nixon, who also won in 72, the year Biden took office. But if you're new here, in the base ciphers, president, White House, government, authority, Republican, Whig, Democrat, DC, Trump, they all equate to 47. George Washington laid the cornerstone for DC September 18th, 1793, a date with 47 numerology. This nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month. Lincoln, his famous address 77 years ago. So, anyhow, here's where it gets even more interesting. From Trump, or from Project 2025 being drafted on the Queen's 96th birthday to the election this year was 929 days later. Okay? That was also 132 weeks and days. Remember, United States of America equates to 132, goes with the 132 rooms in the White House. The phrase split term equals 132. It's been 132 years since Grover Cleveland was elected to his split term. But in Jewish gematria, or again, Derek renamed it Latin on his calculator, United States of America is also 929. And it's interesting because there's 929 chapters in the Old Testament. And the election was November 5th, but the election was called for Trump on November 6th, which means the election was called for Trump 930 days after the document was drafted. And again, it calls for a more Christian America. The 930th chapter of the Bible is where the Christian section begins. And for the record, the New Testament's based on the Old Testament, which is 929 chapters. Like how in Jewish gematria, United States of America equates to 929. But notice also in the reduction cipher, United States and Old Testament are 40. And Ronald Reagan, he was the president when the Heritage Foundation came to power. Ronald Reagan was number 40. He won re-election 40 years ago, backed by the Heritage Foundation. And this Project 2025 is the 9th edition of what it was once called back when they first wrote it in 1981. So this Project 2025 is an updated document and doctrine that began in 1981. Remember, President Trump also equals 81. It was initially called the Mandate for Leadership, and now it's part of a series. Project 2025 is the 9th edition of this series. Again, all these parallels between Trump and Reagan. History repeating itself. But yes, you could also say it was a span of 930 days from the drafting to the election, or you could say it was 930 days later, which would have been November 6th, the day the election was called for Trump. Sumerian gematria is where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. So A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24, so on. Z would become 156, 26 times 6. That's how Y is 150, 25 times 6. But Christianity, 9:30. Just think about the ritualism, you guys. This stuff's going on all the time, all perfectly coordinated. And again, the Queen represented the royal family, which is the head of the Church of England. And this all ties in with how we never really got free from England. And England's really just an extension of Rome, just like the United States of America is. Of course, Christianity, the religion of Rome after Mithraism. So yes, Matthew 1, where the New Testament begins, the 930th chapter of the Bible. And also noteworthy, if you count the span of days from the drafting to the election being called for Trump, 133 weeks. This might take you back to 2015. Again, I think we were the first people in the world to recognize that Trump very well was going to become president after the first debate in 2015. And that's because when Trump took the stage, Fox News hosted, and the first time Trump spoke, they put up on the screen, according to Forbes, Trump is the 133rd richest man in the United States. Again, you recognize the gematria significance of 133. Government, White House, and president all equal 133. This goes with the ritual of what Patrick Mahomes and his mother did the night before this election. Patrick Mahomes from White House, Texas. His mom endorsed Trump. And again, Mahomes has a September 17th birthday, which is the NFL's birthday. The National Football League has the same birthday as Mahomes, September 17th. And that's also the U.S. Constitution's birthday. From the Constitution being born to the NFL's exactly 133 years later. They're always doing rituals with the NFL and the government, as we pointed out a million times. In 1968, the whole plan for 9/11 goes into motion. World Trade Center construction, 911 made the code. The New York Jets win their only Super Bowl. 9/11 happens. The Patriot Act happens. All of a sudden, the Patriots are the greatest football team in history. Now all these rituals with the Chiefs and the Commander-in-Chief. The Eagles finally won the Super Bowl, home of the flag, synced up with Trump, the year of the flag protest. Trump came in while the flag was 239 years old, has the same birthday as the flag. Flag sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philly. Trump took on the protesters of the flag on the 23rd of September. On and on and on. 239 is the 52nd prime. The Eagles win Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, which equals 52. On and on and on. And with regards to the encoding of 133, again, just a reminder, all of these numbers gain their significance in the Bible. Romans 13:3. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. Again, that's what the government wants. They want you to be in compliance with their policy, with their BS, with their lies. They want no questions. They've indoctrinated a society that if you question the authorities, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a weirdo, you're a schizophrenic. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. So, again, Heritage Foundation. Look at the address of the Heritage Foundation, you guys. 214, the Republican Party, 214. You might recall when Trump lost in 2020, he got stuck on 214 electoral college votes while Biden passed him. Don't forget, Church of Satan also equals 214. And again, the Republican Party did invert the stars on the elephant, like satanic pentagrams. And then again, MAGA is the highest degree of the Church of Satan. The satanic panic was going on at the same time. Oprah was asking Trump if he'd want to be president someday. Again, the whole ritual of Obama asking or telling the world in a joke that Trump was going to be the 45th president on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan. But yes, Church of Satan does equal the Republican Party. And for anyone going, but wait, how can this Christian organization be paying tribute to the Church of Satan? Again, isn't that exactly what evil people would do? Masquerade is just the opposite. Seems all pretty common sense to me. Okay, whoops. So this is my new favorite word. It's been getting thrown around a lot because of the panel we went on. A lot of people coming at us saying that what we're practicing is apophenia. And I've heard this for years, but I've just been hearing it a lot lately. So all of a sudden I got the wise idea. I said, where did this apophenia word come from anyway? Like, who would even invent this word? And what do you know? What do you know? Apophenia was invented by a man named Klaus Conrad. And who was Klaus Conrad? Klaus Conrad, who invented the word apophenia. By the way, what does the word apophenia mean? It means people are accusing this work of being apophenia. It means to see patterns and connect things that really have no connection. So for anyone who thinks that's what I'm doing over here, I mean, you got to be a special kind of brain dead. But yeah, it's good to look at where these things come from, because when people start using them, it's like, so somebody taught this word to society. Who was it and where did it come from? Well, it turns out it's not that old of a word. It came in the year 1958. And we'll talk about what happened to old Klaus. He didn't live to be that old. It's quite ironic how he died. But yes, Klaus Conrad, the inventor of apophenia, was a member of the Nazi Party that he joined in 1940. And in his most well-known book, The Beginning of Schizophrenia, published in 1958, he created this term apophenia. 58 is a pretty interesting year, isn't it? Again, we just talked about all the significance of 58. Nazi equates to 58, and if you think about that with the ritual of Trump, I'm sure you remember the headlines back when he first became president. Oh, by the way, one of the most infamous things the Nazis ever did was the Reichstag fire, where they set fire to a building and blamed it on their enemies to unite their people for a common cause against the enemy. Sound familiar? Does it remind you of September 11th, which Donald Trump, who went on to become the winner of the 58th election, he was a part of that day. But yeah, the Reichstag fire happened on the 58th day of the year. The 58th day of the year. The Reichstag fire equals 271, the 58th prime. And just for the record, oh, sweetie pie, I'm sorry. Oh no, did Daddy wake you up? Oh no, what's that? Oh no, it's okay. Daddy woke you up, I'm sorry, Daddy woke you up, that was scary. I'm sorry, my love, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry, my love. Alright, sorry, I scared sweet girl, I woke her up. You were doing such a good job. But just for the record, the guy who the Reichstag fire was blamed on, his name just happened to equal 201. If you're new here, that is the supreme number of the Jesuits. It essentially represents light, and that's why it's used by the Jesuits and the Illuminati. Alright. Okay, sweet girl. We might have to wrap this up here pretty quick. But yeah, just with regards to Trump, you might recall after he won the 58th election, there were rumors he was walking around with Mein Kampf. 201 is a special number to the Jesuits. And again, the SS was modeled after the Jesuit order. Sweet love. You ready for it? There you go. Okay, here she is. All right, well, that clearly woke Mom up from the nap too. But again, 58th election goes with Nazi, goes with Trump carrying around Mein Kampf, as the headline said. And realize just the way the media plays everything too. You have Donald Trump, who all of his children of age are all married into Jewish partners, if you will. You have Donald Trump going over to the Wailing Wall. He's over there for Jerusalem Day before he stops by the Vatican. Again, just the cabal plays all sides of all things. It's like, how can they be saying this man is like Adolf Hitler? He's here, well, actually, maybe you think about it. Adolf Hitler essentially created modern-day Israel. He sent the first pack of German Jews down there in 1933, and nobody ever talks about that in the slave school textbook, but again, all sides of all things, and most of the time the media and the mainstream only giving you half the story. But yeah, about the Jesuits, don't forget we're in the time of the first ever Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, whose name equates to 58. He became a Jesuit in 1958. Funny enough, the same year that apophenia was coined. And by the way, this apophenia, I mean, if people are pointing out patterns in numbers, more often than not, that has to do with numerology. Now, notice what day this man died and at what age. He died just shy of his 56th birthday. He died at age 55 on May 5th. At 55 on 5/5, and May 5th is the 125th day of the year. Numerology is 55 and 125. And again, you serve the evil cabal. You publish a book. You spread ideas like apophenia, which was probably created to dismiss people who were catching on to the rituals of the cabal, which the Nazis are a part of. Again, the Nazis come out of the Jesuit tree, if you will, just like modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Again, the language that we're speaking, English, comes from the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. The calendar comes from the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. Nazis, on and on and on. The Illuminati, on and on and on. All these things come from the Jesuit network. But yeah, what a day for this guy to die. The guy who said, you're a schizophrenic if you see patterns in numbers, just happens to die at 55 on 5/5. I'm sure that was an accident. 55 is a special number. The word Fibonacci equals 55 as well. 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number. 55 is also the 10th triangular number. Both the words God and Satan equate to 55 and 10. That's why Marilyn Manson, who is a member of the Church of Satan, who happens to be 55 years old right now, he has that song, "When you say God, I say Satan," spelled SAY10, like the number 10. And again, the music video for that song came out the first time Trump won this election back in 2016, and it shows Trump being assassinated. About this man, though, in his book that created this word apophenia, take a look at this. Oh, by the way, people will say, well, wait a minute. How can you connect the Jesuits and the Masons and the Catholic Church? The Catholic Church banned Freemasonry, and Hitler shut down Masonic lodges. Yeah, that's all part of the public record, but again, secrecy. These are secret societies. What the story is for the public might not be the story for what's really going on behind the scenes. And speaking of which, again, modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuits. Here's the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, doing the hidden hand before he was the Pope, back when he was just a priest. The hidden hand is a Masonic pose. I mean, look at all the portraits of famous men in history that are part of Freemasonry. They're all doing this pose. There's a picture of George Washington here, Stalin, on and on and on. So yeah, again, just the fact that, and think about it, I mean, like, where else were you going to point out numerical rituals other than the cabal, right? I mean, who else would be doing rituals and numbers other than the cabal, a term that comes from Kabbalah, where again in Kabbalah there's the practice of Gematria, and within Kabbalah there's the dark half of Kabbalah, the Qlippoth, which is about sorcery and spell casting through this knowledge. So, all just a little bit too coincidental, don't you think? I'll keep on the gaga goo goo music for all the little babies who still don't get it. Twinkle, twinkle, time to wake up, sweetheart. But yeah, again, Freemasonry, Rosicrucians, secret society, biblical, the fourth book of the Bible's numbers. The Bible's very important to Masonry. They studied the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, known as the first 5 books of Moses. And again, you can look into all kinds of things about the SS and the Jesuits and the Catholic Church, and again, how Hitler modeled the SS after the Jesuits, how the Jesuits and Catholic Church turned a blind eye to what was going on Who do you think financed Hitler? Mussolini made the Vatican an independent city-state with its own central bank in 1929. Next thing you know, all of a sudden Germany's being bankrolled to have the most powerful military on earth when they're supposedly broke as everything after World War One, made to pay reparations to all the countries impacted by World War One. But then all of a sudden they just have all this money out of nowhere. I mean, come on. What else is really interesting is the name of the book that created apophenia. The German name equates to 153 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. The translation is beginning stages of schizophrenia. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it also equals 153. And of course, Jesuit order is 153. Little Nazi Jesuit scumbag Elon Musk. So many rituals with this number here, Elon Musk. But of course, the Illuminati is also 153. The Illuminati founded in Bavaria by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Bavaria 54, like Jesuit order. And again, the Jesuit headquarters, if you don't know, is the Church of the Gesù, Building 54 in Italy. John Carroll established the first Jesuit university, Georgetown, when he was 54 years old. John Carroll also equates to 54. Okay, and just speaking of 58, another big 58 thing used by the intelligence agencies is Facebook. Facebook's got the 58 connection. And did you see how Trump and Zuckerberg just got together yesterday? Again, Zuckerberg, another puppet on the world stage, just like Elon Musk. All these people are puppets. None of them are really the people who are supposedly have the accomplishments that they're accredited with. Mark Zuckerberg, supposedly behind Facebook. Obviously not. I mean, if you look into it, it launched February 4th, 2004, the same day that the military technology wing, DARPA, the same day that their LifeLog project ended. LifeLog ended the same day Facebook launched. They're pretty much the same thing. Look into it. Again, this is always about collecting data and information and having surveillance over the populace. Facebook came about in the years after 9/11, the same time Google's being established and becoming popular. All these things that are now collecting everyone's data and information and building the surveillance state. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy with the same birthday as Israel, May 14th, who goes around with the hoodie that on the inside has the Star of David. And again, if you've never seen that footage of him in Germany about 15 years ago now, I think it was 2010 if I'm not mistaken, it might have been 2009, but he's in Germany and they ask him to take off the hoodie, and then they notice that there's something inside the hoodie. It's the Star of David with the phrase around it, keeping the world open and connected, with the Facebook symbol inside. Again, these things aren't an accident. The guy has the same May 14th birthday as Israel. And remember, State of Israel equals 201, like the Jesuit order, like Order of Illuminati. David Ben-Gurion, dead 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment, like Adam Weishaupt, dead 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. You can see who's really running all these things at the end of the day. 201 all over the big tech enterprises, all over puppets like Elon Musk, who's declared the world's richest man for the first time ever on the 78th death anniversary of Nikola Tesla, and then now is in the federal government while Trump's 78 years old. I mean, talk about getting trumped. Again, the top cards in the tarot deck are Trump cards. There's 78 cards in the deck. Elon Musk is going around with that hat, "I'm dark mega," that phrase equals 78, like Jesuit, like Tesla. And again, just the whole fact that Trump's uncle audited Nikola Tesla's apartment after he died. I mean, people can't see the ritualism and how these puppets were chosen for the world stage. It's unbelievable, really. It's apophenia. There's no real pattern there. I mean, it could have been a coincidence. I mean, everybody has uncles. It could have been anybody's uncle. It was just Trump's. It's apophenia, what you're saying. It's like, what? I think it's you who needs to get your head examined. These are 1 in a trillion type of coincidences. And that's what's maddening, too, just all these... See, guys, realizing that this apophenia comes from a Nazi scientist it just makes. Oh, by the way, I didn't even finish the point about Mark Zuckerberg and their meeting at Mar-a-Lago. Remember when Mar-a-Lago got rated on 88? one of a gazillion 88 rituals with Trump to date. But their meeting yesterday was 197 days after Zuckerberg's birthday. That's the 45th prime number. Again, Trump number 45, ritual equals 45, IHS, the letters in the Jesuit logo, 45. The world wars that changed the world ended in 45, that were instigated by Jesuit numerical rituals, probably part of the reason a Nazi scientist sent over to the U.S. and Project Paperclip had to come up with apophenia. But yeah, just coming back to this apophenia word. When 9/11 happened, like I just didn't know what was wrong with humanity. I couldn't believe that so many people fell for the most obvious lie there ever was, and it was just so obvious, the numerology in the whole ritual. And I was just thinking, oh my God, a national emergency on 911, and then you start to look into things, and a few weeks later you realize that 911 was made the code the same year World Trade Center construction began, and the same year George W. Bush got a Yale Skull and Bones. I mean, I've been knowing these things since I was 18 years old, wondering what's wrong with everybody else. And what my thought back then is, this is exactly how the Nazi regime took over. I mean, you just do some terrible thing, everyone just falls for the authority, falls for a hook, line, and sinker, starts hating the group of people they're told to hate, just like how almost overnight everybody hated Islam. Everyone's driving around on their bumper sticker down where I am in Arizona with a Osama bin Laden face with a target over it. And then the other thing is everyone's getting mad at me for pointing out that the story doesn't make any sense. And I just thought, God, I live in a nation of Nazis. This is modern day Nazism. And you know what? Everyone back then was calling me schizophrenic. I was schizophrenic for questioning 9/11. I just thought, weird, nobody's ever called me a schizophrenic before, but because I'm questioning this obvious lie, I'm now schizophrenic. Everybody says this to me. Tinfoil hat, move out of the country, schizophrenic. It was like, pick your poison. Anytime I talked to anybody, I was just banking for one of those three responses, and it almost always was, oh, you sound like one of those weirdo conspiracy theorists. Tinfoil hat much? Dude, you need to get your head checked. You have schizophrenia? Are you serious? You think the government did 9/11? You sound like a schizophrenic. And, I mean, it's been the same thing really for the last, how long has it been now? 20-some years? I mean, so many people are just the exact same way. And it goes to show you guys, they did bring over these Nazi scientists. And through all this technology, they did figure out how to program and brainwash everybody and mind control them. And that is why they're all like robots. And they have one of three wind-up toy responses. Tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorist, schizophrenic, or maybe there's four. Move out of the country then. Why don't you move out of the country then, you schizophrenic? Some of them have a combination of the four. No, it's funny. I'm glad that this word got used so much because it actually made me look into it. I'm like, look at this. Yeah, my critics are a bunch of Nazi scum. My critics are Nazi scumbags. I'm thankful to know that on this Thanksgiving. Yeah. Who wants to try it now, Nazi scum? Wait till the next time I hear apophenia. When it's somebody on a live show, I'll be like, you know that came from a Nazi scientist? They'll be like, what? Then they'll look it up. It might actually break their mind control. They might be like, whoa, hold on. I don't want to use Nazi information. Yeah, that's what you've been doing your whole life, Nazi scum. Hey, shout out to John Mendoza. I saw you gave a super chat the other day, John, and I didn't say thank you. I missed it. Apologies, John. Thank you. Thank you times a million for all your super chats. Super thankful. Space Invader, always with the super chats. Thank you again. The G also stands for Gemini, which equals 33. Does it? Because technically they were established in the time of Cancer. I'm going to have to look into that if the G in Masonry goes with Gemini. I have not heard that one before. Interesting. Thank you. Dante Reed said gratitude. Hey, thank you again, Dante Reed. You become a very generous donor in recent times. And I've told you a bunch of times to stop. I've actually told all three of you guys to stop donating and save your money. I do appreciate it, though. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Logan Thomas said, I don't celebrate holidays, but I am thankful for you helping prime my eyes all the way open, and thankful for having met you, and thankful you serve as at least one good role model for my son in this trash world. Well, you've done a remarkable job with your son, Logan. If you guys missed it, Logan and his son were out with us on the streets of Portland earlier this year. And it was a good day. We definitely had some positive interactions. I still remember the couple that came by and at first was kind of annoyed about what I was doing. They're like, "We were listening to you and you're really scaring us with what you're saying." And I said, "Whoa." I said, "Well, I'm not out here necessarily to scare people." I said, I guess if what I'm saying is true, I could see why that's scary if this is new information to you. But if you guys missed that interaction over the course of the day, we were out there for like, I forget, 8-9 hours. That couple kept coming back, and every time they're like, "We're still sitting over there across the street listening, and you know what? We're actually very thankful you came out here. This is actually really interesting." But it started from them coming up saying that I was scaring them, and they didn't really like it, to thanking us. And then throughout the course of the day, they must have come over 4 or 5 times, and every time after that, it was complimentary. And we're going to look more into this, and wow. So again, not everybody has that reaction, and not everybody will come around that fast, but that also just, it was a perfect example of why you got to keep pushing and get information to people. What they did over the course of that day, what was unique, but that their example for a lot of people might be what happens over the course of a month or several months or a year or several years. In the case of my sister, I'm still waiting for that to happen. Been pushing for 20 some years now, and it still hasn't happened with my sister. But again, not everybody is going to come around. So I see the new Moxie handle in the chat. You know what, you guys, give Moxie a break. I think Moxie's going to come around too. So whatever happened to Jesse? Which Jesse? I'm not sure what Jesse we're talking about. You mean like a little onesie? Is that what I should do? Dress up like a little toddler? Have my pacifier, little onesie pajamas? No, I actually was thinking about that. Do we need to start wearing something different in public to get more attention? I'm not sure the onesie is the right outfit, but maybe dressing really nice. I don't know, maybe some kind of costume. It really is a nation of children. There's very few adults here, so maybe somehow appealing to the childlike nature, like this baby music playing in the background. I think I might start doing every stream like this from now on. Gotta coddle these little babies out here. Oh, welcome to the channel, Marshawn Powers. Better late than never. Well, no doubt it is open up. A lot of people's channels have been destroyed for covering this topic. Thank you very much, Shahad. Shahad sent over 2 on the Cash App. Appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I better wrap it up. Again, in light of these numbers coming from Bible verses, there's a lot of interesting verses in the Bible that are 5-8. Like some of the verses are very obvious. Like, for example, it's obvious why they code 59 all over Black History. Motown in 59, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. R.I.P. always to Coolio, who died on his 59th day of being 59 years old, on 59 date numerology on the anniversary of Stevie Wonder's Pastime Paradise coming out, which is the sample for Gangsta's Paradise. And of course, that was the 46th anniversary, where sacrifice equals 46, and Genesis 46 is about sacrifice, like how Ephesians 6, 5 through 9 are the verses about slave obey your masters, when slave, Negro, Rasta, and blues equal 59. Again, it's very obvious where a lot of these numerical encodes that they do on things come from in the Bible. 5-8, this one that's so important to Freemasonry, it's probably not this verse here, but this is an interesting one in 1 Peter. Be alert and sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. I think about that with Trump, who runs on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan, when you have all these fake Christians that think he was reinstated in office by Jesus Christ. It's like, you couldn't be further from the truth. This is totally satanic. Hold on. Hold on. There's a verse about light and dark in 5:8. It's right here. It's Ephesians. This is probably what it is, because Freemasonry symbolism is black and white. Ephesians 5:8. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. That's probably what it's about, why they encoded in the language 58 for Freemasonry and Rosicrucian and secret society, because again, the true intention of Freemasonry when it was first created was to make better men, to make men who walk in light, thus in knowledge. And that's part of the reason their symbolism is black and white in the checkerboard flooring. But yeah, I mean, for all the apophenia people, it's like, God, you got to be a special kind of dense to think what we're doing over here is just coincidence day after day. And again, look at your man who came up with it, your Nazi scientist, dead at 55 on 5/5, the 125th day of the year. And you just gotta love it. A Nazi created the phrase in 58. You just gotta love it. Gaga goo goo. All right, True Seeker. But yeah, I think that's enough information for today. And I guess I'll check what's buzzing real quick before we hop off here. We're reaching the 1 hour mark. Trump's 25% tariffs expected to send appliances sky high. Again, by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. You gotta love they have the photo of when it comes to like that photo of Oprah in orange. Remember, that was in Oakland County, Michigan, that she wore that outfit with Kamala 47 days before the selection in the 248 area code, while the country's 248 years old and President Donald Trump equals 248. Like how when the election was called for him in 2016, it was with 248 electoral votes. Oh, maybe this image just changed as we went there. When we first went there, you saw the Oprah in orange, but maybe we caught it just in the last second that they had it up there. That's funny. Again, orange has that gematria of 60, like Donald Trump, like how he won the 60th selection, put out the $60 Trump Bible, Holy Bible equals 60, or the Holy Bible equals 60. Holy Bible alone equals 45, like the 45th election, like the massive 666 ritual with the scandemic, where you had to take on the VACCINATION, which has a Sumerian gematria 666 if you wanted to buy or sell. And you also had to wear the mask, one letter off from Mark, if you wanted to buy or sell. Again, from the first simulation to the scandemic being declared 666 days in the time of the chump, the orange overgrown Oompa Loompa. Okay. Yeah, all this history that almost no one knows about. Remember how Amazon in 2020 put out that show Upload? And it's got a picture of Kamala and Oprah, and it says 2024. And they had their ritual so perfectly in the 248 area code, 47 days before the selection, with Oprah wearing orange. Here, in case you missed that one, let me bring that one back up, because that one was a classic. Let's just pull it up here. And it's funny, Oakland, Michigan got on the map earlier this year with the tournament that ended in the 48th state. Oakland had that big upset at Kentucky. Look at this, you guys. Just all this perfectly scripted ritualism. They got Oprah dressed to match the skin tone of Trump. Kamala's from Oakland in the Bay Area, which reminds me that King James won that championship on the real King James's birthday in Oakland, if you recall. And Unite for America. Yeah. Again, here's the shot from Upload from the Illuminati's birthday, May 1st, 2020, first episode. Kamala and Oprah 2024, orange in the poster. I'm sure Oprah just chose to wear orange that day. Again, 248 area code, President Donald Trump 248. Kamala was at Howard University. The election was called for Trump 248 days after Howard University's establishment anniversary. And again, they did that September 19th, 47 days before the election. Oakland County, Michigan, 220, like Donald John Trump. Inauguration day is the 220th day of his age. RFK Jr. teamed up with Trump, saying he did it to beat Kamala. He did that on the 220th day of his own age, RFK Jr. Oakland County's 48, like Donald Trump, like Hollywood, like Illuminati. Again, they were there 47 days before the election date, 48 days before the election was called for Trump on November 6th. It's also the 263rd day of the leap year, the 56th prime. 2020 was 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began. Ritual was also on the day, leaving 103 days left in the year. Just to remind you who's behind all this. Who is the real puppeteer? Did you guys see a Rothschild just burned up in a house fire, supposedly? There's a big cost to be the well-known name on the world stage. So many half-truthers think that's who runs the world. The puppet Rothschild family. What do you mean they're puppets? Their name's on the Balfour Declaration. Yeah, and that guy died 201 days from his birthday, too. Just exactly what I mean. People who run the world, you don't know any of their names. But if you look into it, you can find their names out too, like the Orsinis. A family that almost no one talks about. Orsinis? I was watching YouTube and I heard it was the Rothschilds. Yeah, okay. As they off another one for the Pope, and another one for the Pope. Throw this one in a house fire. Burnt offering. New Holocaust. Yeah, here it was in 2016 when it was called for Trump. 48 to 47%, 88% of the vote in. I mean, you got to be kidding me, right? I mean, when you know what you're looking at, it's just unbelievable. He had 57 million votes at the time. Scottish Rites 57, a Scottish ancestry. Hillary had 56 million, Society of Jesus, Washington D.C. But again, the electoral college at the time was called for Trump 248 to 218. All these numbers are just straight up Trump tributes. Trump 88, Trump 47, Donald Trump 48, President Donald Trump 248, in all caps with the Francis Bacon cipher, Trump 218, the father of the emergency text alert that always goes out at 2:18 Eastern. And remember, the Holy Roman Empire, that equals 2:18, supposedly ended 218 years ago on August 6th, the 218th day of the year. And now Trump's back in office 218 years after 1806. And keep in mind, the Pope's about to turn 88 years old, right? Pope's going to turn 88 December 17th. That was one of the things we were talking about. For the reselection of Trump, the Superior General just turned 76. Donald John Trump, 76. The Pope's about to turn 88. Trump, 88. They're a good Jesuit puppet. All these people that think the Rothschilds are behind all this. It's the Rothschilds! They don't even know who the Superior General is. Who are the Jesuits? It's the Rothschilds. Oh, man. Again, that's why there's a bunch of co-intel... What do they call it? I can't think. I haven't had enough sleep. I can't even come up with normal phrases that I know, but... There's a lot of fake truthers out here. Putting out a lot of half-baked information. There might be a slight element of truth to it, but almost no one talks about the Jesuits. Almost nobody has a clue about anything. They're throwing around terms like apophenia. They're like no-impact flicks going, oh, all those findings are speculative. Yeah, they're all speculative. As he gets fooled by every psyop on TV. As we call them out before they even happen. All right. Yeah, I think we got it all in here. I think we're good to go for today. And again, you guys, these things that we call holidays, root word holy day, really you should think about how unholy most of them are. I mean, like Thanksgiving, it's really to remember the genocide of the natives, and all these Christian holy days, they were brought about by the church that crusaded people all across the world in the name of religion. Submit or die. Submit or die. We'll give you this holy day. So, anyhow, but all things good and bad. The nice thing about holidays is for a lot of people, they get a day off and they can actually spend time with their friends and family and loved ones. Hard to do here on this giant slave ship, or we all have our constant tax obligations. Well, remember that, they've been talking about that. We've been talking about how FedNow, remember what they did with FedNow for this super chat here? They're looking at making BTC a national reserve. Again, Bitcoin's got the Jesuit fingerprints all over it. We've had some very exact calls on Bitcoin. You get the Jesuit puppet back in there, it surges up. By the numbers. I loved when it hit that record high that one day of 89K on the 1111, 89, the 11 Fibonacci number. But remember, Bitcoin equals 72 like money, like Jesuit order, like we got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year, like there's 72 bricks on the pyramid on the dollar bill. But about the FedNow system, remember, it went live on the 201st day of the year. This Federal Reserve System that's getting ready for the digital and the crypto went live on the 201st day of the year. And remember what they did to poor Bob Lee, who invented Square and CashApp. Can go back and revisit what they did to Bob Lee. First, the Federal Reserve put out the statement on the Ides of March that they would begin certifying the FedNow system the first week of April. The Ides of March is to remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing in 44 BC. It's on the 74th day of the year. Stabbing and killing equals 74 in Gematria, like how 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents died on 7/4, who all had a thing with the Catholic Church. The word kill is 44. 44 BC, kill 44. Ides of March, 74th day of the year, again, killing and stabbing 74. So what happens to Bob Lee, who essentially invented digital currency? He gets stabbed to death on 4/4, April 4th. The first week of April, just like the Federal Reserve memo said, they would begin certifying the system the first week of April. And then remember, they put out the apartment of Bob Lee's killer. Here, let's look at some more of that apophenia. Yeah, let's go back and look at the apartment of Bob Lee's killer to see what they had to show us. Little blast from the past of the apophenia files. Well, here's FedNow launching on the 201st day of the year, July 20th. XRP is known as the Ripple coin. Everybody and their mother's on the board for that. That's another 201. Watch out for XRP in the future. Hold on. Let me see if I put it in this post. I don't think it was this post. I have a post of... here he is. Bob Lee's killer. Remember the guy who killed the students in Moscow, Idaho, on King's Road, and the news broke on King Charles' birthday? He also lived in apartment 201. Go figure. That big-time CIA number. Big-time number connected to MK Ultra. But yeah, this is what they showed for the apartment of Bob Lee's killer. Just happened to live in apartment 201. And then FedNow goes live on the 201st day of the year. Apophenia. And I'm sure there's something about the Marilyn Monroe thing too. I'm sure there's something about that. I wasn't able to connect that. I didn't even try to research it, but these people don't put things in front of your face by accident. As I think about it, I know that they say that JFK had a relationship with Marilyn Monroe and he tried to go against the central bankers. There's probably something in that right there. There's probably definitely something in that. JFK got smoked if he really did get smoked. Him and his brother both got taken out by the numbers. In the same numbers that point back to the Jesuit order. And then RFK even got in the race by the same numerical code on 4/5/2023 when he filed his paperwork. And now he's Synced up with another Jesuit-educated man again. RFK Jr. went to Georgetown Prep. Trump went to Fordham. When RFK Jr. had his anti-lockdown rally in D.C., did it on Georgetown's birthday of all days. Oh yeah, just a little blast from the past from the Apophenia files. You would have to be some kind of Nazi to dismiss this knowledge. It just makes too much sense, doesn't it? It makes way too much sense. All of our critics are Nazis. Be thankful for that knowledge. You got a real argument now. Anyone comes at you with any kind of, you'd be like, you know who started that line of thinking that you're using on me right now for pointing out nothing but facts? A Nazi. That's going to be a tough pill for these people to swallow. It might be the one. It might be the pill that wakes a lot of these people up when they realize that they're using Nazi scientist ideas to dismiss truth. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow for these people. They might stop. They might stop. You know what? You know what? I know who Moxie Dimwits is as well. What's up, DK Stonewood? All right, people were mad that I didn't let DK on the other night for having such a new clever handle, DK. DK, I just don't know who to trust, but sometimes you do get on here, man, and I just feel like all you're trying to do is piss off the people around here. They're like all things. There's parts about DK that I like, and there's parts about him that drive me nuts. But the other night, I wasn't letting him on the show. I'd already had enough that day. I was like, DK is going to come on here and really piss me off tonight. I just know it. But hey, we'll give thanks to DK. He's been around for a long time, and he does do good as well. I just wish he would stop trying to polarize along racial lines, because he definitely does that. He definitely does do that. All right, I dropped the link to join. Maybe DK's at Thanksgiving dinner, texting from his Moxie Dimwits account under the table. If anybody else wants to come on here real quick and talk about Apophenia or Project 2025 or all the truth deniers being under Nazi mind control, the link was dropped. If we don't have anybody hop on here in the next minute or two, I'm going to wrap this thing up. And I don't want to go too long, so if you do want to come on here, be efficient with the words. Say something that adds to the stream. Take us out of here with a strong close. What do you guys think? Should we stay with the baby music? I kind of like it. I feel like the infant energy in the average American, I feel like they need this. I might do every video with the toddler music from now on. What's up, King Richard?
Hey, how's it going, Zach? Can you hear me? Is the mic good?
Hold on, I got to turn down the Gaga Goo Goo music.
All right, for sure.
Oh, and I gotta hold on. I gotta just switch the whole audio setting around actually because it's gonna be echoing.
All right.
What's up, King?
Yeah, man. How's it going, man? How's today been?
It's been all right. We don't do a whole lot for Thanksgiving. A lot of diaper changing today. I think I set a new record for diapers changed.
For sure. Yeah. Hey, congrats, man. Congrats on the little one, man.
Appreciate it.
But there's some. I wanted to share some stuff with you, man, because there's a lot of headlines today. You can look this up. I wish there was a way I can share my screen because I have my blog up, man. But
you can share your screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go down to where it has like a plus on a monitor, and then
go
to share screen, and then share what you want, and it'll show up down below, and I can put it up on the screen.
Okay, I see it. All right, right there, man. It's a TikTok star, man. That I don't know. Can you see it?
It's up.
Okay. there's a TikTok star, supposedly he went missing and he got found 11 days later, but they waited till today to report that. And as you see here, again, 31's the 11th prime number. And yeah, again, what are the odds of these things, man? It's just there's probably more to it. He went missing on the day, leaving 46 days left in the year. But they supposedly found him dead on Tuesday, November 26th. So
This is like
there-
Obama announcing 31 years to the day that he's running for president, 31 years to the day of Black History Month being recognized by the feds. Obama
right,
equals 31 like slave, and 31 against the 11th prime going with black, like you said. Okay,
right,
go
yeah.
ahead.
And then he went missing in Jonesboro, Georgia. As you see on your screen there, it equals the same thing as blood sacrifice. And what's
Mhm.
interesting is he got found on the hold on, let me see. November 26th, that's the 331st day of the leap year, and it's the 67 prime number. Human sacrifice and blood sacrifice are 67. But I was trying to find a birthday on this guy. I couldn't find any birthday on him. But I find it curious how they have to report 10 days. I mean, the word when you write out the word 10, it equals 42. And this is a black man, so they like to stamp that number all over black men and black history.
And again, slave is 31, isn't it?
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, slave is 31. So there was also a Mexican actress. I'm gonna pull that up here. Let me see. Let me pull it up. I don't know how to say her name, but her name is Sylvia Pinal. I think that's her name. This woman right here. She died today. What's funny is her name equals 74 like holiday. And hold on, let me see. She died reportedly at 93. Earlier they were saying she was dead at 94, but they changed her age of death to 93. Today's the day, leaving 33 days after. She's from Mexico. Mexico has that 33 and 93 in it. I know Saturn has that 93 in it, but not too sure on the hold on. I'm not too sure. She's born September 12th. Let me see how many days from her birthday. Let's see. That's 77 days. She died 77 days after her birthday.
Yeah, yeah, I see that.
Or you could say it's a span of
The word
78
theater
too.
is 77, right?
Oh shit, yeah. Theater is 77. I forgot all about that, yeah. So I think that's about it. That's all I had. But yeah, those are like the top stories that I've so um yeah, that's about it, man. Hey, thank you for shouting me out about the Project 2025 thing. I appreciate that. Cause
Yeah, no, it was a great decode and a head start, and then I should have looked more. I didn't look into it the whole time because I just thought the Heritage Foundation piece was enough. I'd mentioned in the past, well, it's the Heritage Foundation, that's the Republican Party, but man,
right.
on the
I
Queen's birthday, I mean, it just tied in with everything we've been talking about since 2016. It's just mockery.
Right. And you know what? I didn't even notice about the 96 part, how it equals 90. I didn't even know that. So yeah, that's a good catch on that. I didn't even know it equaled 96, like her last birthday. That was her 96th birthday. I did not even know. So yeah, that was a good catch on that.
For
I
people
seen
who
that.
forgot, they installed that Prime Minister of England right before she died on 9/6, Liz Truss, and a truss is part of
Oh,
a bridge
right.
structure and also building structure like Freemasons, like builders, and then the Queen died at 96 2 days later, and Liz
Right.
Truss was only the Prime Minister for 45 days, and bridge equals 45, and the operation for when
Right.
the Queen died was Operation London Bridge.
Right.
So,
Right.
there
Yeah.
was a lot of 96 with the Queen's death, and
Yeah. You talked about that. I put that on the screen because I did cover that too. Yeah. And she did that on a date with
can you
72
zoom it in?
numerology.
Can you zoom in your thing?
Yeah, sure. For sure. Hold on. There it is.
I
Yeah, I'm
mean, I
trying to
got old
figure it
eyes
out.
over here. It's hard to even read that.
Yeah,
There
I
we go.
know. Me too. But yeah, it was a day with 72 numerology and resign is 72 and Yeah, her name. I remember that her name
She
overlapped with
resigned on
Jesuit order.
Kamala's birthday. Hmm.
Yeah, that was on. Yeah, that was on Kamala's birthday. The day leaving 72 days left in the year.
Hmm.
But she resigned 44 days. Yeah, I covered that too.
44 days
44.
after, or her 45th day of her age. Again,
Right.
bridge
Yeah.
45, like a truss is part of a bridge.
Right. Yeah, but I was covering the 44 piece Balmoral Castle. That's where she died. Where she died at equals 44.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 42. I covered that. And just think about the Freemason 9642 thing. Yeah, so I was covering that back then too.
Yeah. And there's the
Uh,
Elizabeth 47 thing, just like the Heritage Foundation on
yeah.
the 47th day of the year, all this stuff tying in with the election of the 47th, just how perfect it all is.
Right. Right. Yeah. And oh yeah. I was making the point too that that was 183rd day of being a prime minister, and prime minister is 183.
Wait, not prime minister, from the Queen's birthday.
Oh, yeah, from the Queen's birthday. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
182 days later, the 183rd day, yeah.
yeah, or the 26 weeks too. Queen
Queen
26.
26, like she became
Mhm.
the queen on, didn't she become the queen on February 6th in 52?
Yeah, I think it was. Here, let me see.
And then her coronation was on June 2nd, Queen's 26 and 62.
Right. Right. But yeah, I think that's all I had, man. I just wanted to come on here, man, and yeah, it just like I think was it yesterday? I was on CT's channel because I seen you were on there, and I got on there. It's wild how they just had like they don't like I couldn't even hear the point you were trying to make because it's just you have all those people talking over you. You know
Well,
what I mean?
there was one good point when this guy came on and called me schizophrenic, like a stereotype, and then
Right.
you saw that he got like destroyed. By the end, he was like backing down and he was like complimenting me, and I was like, I need to get the screen recording of this. This is how you destroy one of these idiots.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, again, those people, and then I see them today, like they're doing a panel tonight, and they're just talking about like the Drake and Kendrick beef. It's like that whole thing is so contrived. You know what I mean? Like that whole beef is like contrived,
yeah,
fake.
if they wouldn't be asking like, what's this all about? If they would just look at what we're talking about, they'd be looking at it through the lens we're teaching, and be like, oh wow, there's a lot to this, man. You can even see how this whole thing was contrived by the code.
Right. And I remember you covering that. It was all about the number 57. So, because both of
And
their names equal
connected to
57.
Tupac and a whole lot to it. So
Yeah, and you were covering that. You were covering like how on May 7th, was it Drake's residence got shot up or something like that, and both of their names equal 57.
yeah.
So like again, how can this shit be all a coincidence? Like for anybody out there watching this, they're like, it's just wild how people like. I've always known they've done stuff with numbers, but like just to see like you learn this and you're like,
Zach.
wow, like the way they do it.
We got CJ in the building. He wants to say something. What's up, CJ?
Oh man, I didn't even know I was on. I thought I had to wait till he got through.
No,
Yeah. So the Kendrick and the Drake thing, that was all staged. Is that what
right.
y'all saying? By
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's what
numbers?
I'm saying. Yep.
You know why I think that too? Because I think I read in the Behold the Pale Horse where it said that even their puppets, they will fake beef with each other in the public. But what they really be doing is throwing an alley hoop to each other. That's how they put each other on. Like,
Right.
let's say I got a big name and you a little artist who just came up in the ranks or whatever. I'll let you diss me and put yourself out there. Meanwhile, we both getting paid and we distracting the public like they told us to. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know
And
exactly
it
what you
sells
mean.
records. Drama
Yep.
sells.
Right.
So
Right. And death sells too. Like I was watching, like I think it might have been a Vlad TV interview, and like someone was saying, like trying to make the point, like, oh, how did these rappers like how like if they die, how does that benefit the record label? And I'm thinking like that benefits the record label in a big way. I mean, think about it. I mean, think about like an example, Juice World. They're still putting out Juice World music, and the guy's been dead for what 5 years now. So
Yeah, and they be having them insurance policies on them too.
Yeah, exactly. I think French Montana even spoke about that like a few years back. I seen an interview he did. He was talking about that.
Do y'all think some of them be actually, because years back people used to talk about this, but people don't talk like this as much no more. Do you think some of them fake their death, or is that just what we want to believe as fans? I'm asking, Jack. I mean, Zach.
It's hard to say. It does seem that some of them might fake their deaths. I mean, um, what was the name of the dude who went on Larry King after Michael Jackson died, and it looked like it was MJ in a costume?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
so the faking the death thing is pretty much I'm selling this character to the public and the industry, and I won't be able to be this person no more. I'll just be somewhere on a private island or somewhere living a normal life with all my millions of dollars and nothing to worry about while y'all continue to make money off that character.
There's a German beer ad from about 15 years ago that has like every famous musician who died early all chilling on the island drinking
Oh,
the
I remember
beers.
that. I remember that advertisement. Yeah, that was back in the day. I remember that. Yep.
Mm.
I mean, hey, they could be doing that, but again, I don't like. There's just a lot of people out there that say shit like, "Oh, these people are dead and cloned." Like, oh, like you just can't prove that. That's the thing, though. I try to stick to things you can prove on what I'm saying, surface level, just on paper. You know what I
I,
mean?
man, I don't know about that new Gucci man. You
That's
know,
a theory that's been going around for what 10, 11 years now, probably even longer than that.
I don't know, man. The new
That Gucci
Gucci.
Mane's clone.
Then you hear stuff like he don't mess with his family. His family say that ain't him. They don't look. He don't really look or act the same. He didn't go to his mama's funeral. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be just a master self improvement plan, but at the same time, man, I don't know. It could be some weird stuff going on like that. Uh, but
That they clone Tyrone movie, you just never know. I'll always point out here. I'll take you guys back to my one of my old classic posts. Dolly the sheep. If they can clone a sheep, I don't see why they couldn't clone a person. They say they cloned a sheep back in the '90s. I was in middle school when that happened.
yeah,
Right. The
And
only
they
thing that kind of pisses me off is like you got the people that call me kinfolk, and I'm gonna call him out because it's like he'll put on a video and he'll be like, "Oh, P Diddy is playing the role of Kai Cenat." He's actually started saying that too. So, and what his reasoning will be is like, "Oh, because Kai Cenat equals P Diddy, they equal 22." I'm like, dude, that's not how you do this. Like, that's not how that's not what we're doing over here. You
some
know?
you just have to learn to take information with a grain of salt, man. Because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of things. Uh, like I know when some stuff sound bogus or just weird or too off to me, instead of me just no man, this dude is full of it. I just kind of write it. I just kind of say like, well, maybe it's something I don't understand yet because it's a lot of things that I used to do like that to where I'm like, dang, you know what I mean? Because you really can't fathom the depths of the devil. You really just don't know how low these people will go, and a lot of stuff is unconceivable to us. Like we don't know why would you clone somebody? Like, what's the purpose of that? You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's a lot of weird stuff out there. Uh, I think a lot of this information is kind of like they said in Behold the Pale Horse too, where they said that we will allow them to talk their heads off, but as long as they don't come with any solutions or plans to challenge our agenda, it'll pretty much be them distracting themselves. And you can see that when you go in on TikTok and you hear a lot of these people talking about stuff, but they really are anti-solution. Nobody really wants to do anything about nothing. Everybody just wants views and likes, and it's kind of becoming something that it's a lot of fake energy going on. Just like I went on TikTok today, it was dry. Why? Because it's Thanksgiving. So y'all only serious until the holiday come around, and then when the holiday come around, all that fire that y'all had talking, is gone. So it's a lot of distractions and stuff like that going on, man. So I just take from everybody, and I learn from everybody, man. I really just that's how I am. I'm kind of humble with the information.
Yeah, that's a good approach. I appreciate it.
And also having good discernment too. That also helps.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but
Again, about this cloning topic, I was in middle school when they announced that they cloned Dolly the sheep. And I remember asking my teacher, I said, well, a sheep's a mammal, so that must mean they can clone any kind of mammal, and technically we're mammals, so why can't they clone a person? My teacher was like, I'm not sure about that, maybe. But if the Dolly thing's real, then you could entertain the idea that human cloning's real. Again, if you look, Dolly the sheep was the news was unveiled that the sheep was cloned on the 53rd day of the year, February 22nd. Sheep is 53, and even if you write out Dolly the sheep, it's also 53. So, what a day for Dolly, and what a day for another apophenia. But
right. Sheep. You know what? Sheep equals COVID. Thinking about it.
yeah, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, just how they coded the languages too, right? Just thinking about that. And that's just a form of mockery too, right? I mean, just think about that. Basically, what the cabal, looks at these people, as your everyday folk who fall for everything. They look at them as sheep, you know.
the Goya,
Right, right.
they they really kind of train us to be idiots from grade
Oh,
school
sure,
up. You have
sure.
to be born with a certain spirit in you to even be strong enough to go against the indoctrination that they putting on us from everywhere, from your family, from TV commercials, the music, the
And,
movie.
and you know what? Adding to that, I mean, it starts when you're young too, right? It starts when you're a kid, right? Because then they have you believing in stuff like, Santa Claus, which is obviously not real, or the Tooth Fairy, which is obviously not real. And then it goes on from that to when you go to your slave school, they have you believing in, Christopher Columbus and all this type of stuff. So it's generational programming,
I would say that the Americans really are trained uh, to accept lies. You are trained to easily accept lies and to pretty much fight against the truth. Even people,
Right.
Americans don't even like real people. Americans like fake food, fake people, fake everything.
Yep,
Uh,
Yep.
it's
yep.
just like when you're trained. The devil teaches you to accept lies, and your parents teach you to accept lies. And then when the truth comes, it sounds weird, or you want to fight against it. And it's bro, I really don't like this society at all, man. Like, I really don't even know what to do, man. I'm just kind of sitting here, I ain't went nowhere for no Thanksgiving. I ain't talked to nobody. Nobody called me because they pretty much know what I'm on. But it's kind of like, damn, man, like, what am I really going to do? Because we're going to have to either separate from this society or just watch it all collapse. I don't know, man. I damn near feel like the Book of Eli out here amongst these zombies. I really do. But Zach, what I was going to ask you, man, so in that Project 2025, and I know you probably don't want to hear this. I know you just had your baby, congratulations to that. But I think they said something where they're going to make it against the law to be a single mother. Is that true?
I don't know about that one. I'm just even trying to think how that would work. I guess there'd be a lot of more kids in group homes.
Yeah. Well, I seen that where they were saying like they're gonna make it it's crazy, man. It sounds weird because some of the stuff I was like, well, I don't even know if I disagree with that. Like they were saying something about like going against the public school system and dismantling that system, and uh, as far as like some of the stuff, man, I can't remember it all, but some of the stuff I was like, on the surface, it sounds like they are pretty much destroying the a lot of things that we consider the American way of life. on the surface is what it seems like. It almost seems like really the American government has been hijacked. And what you have is a bunch of actors, but they really are working for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that too.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Hey,
is
hey,
sad though
Zach.
what you just
Oh,
said
go ahead.
about how because you're speaking out about things and questioning things, you're isolated on the holiday. I mean, a lot of us have that exact same situation, and again, it is because it's one nation under like this evil mind control, and if you break out of it, then you become the bad guy. So it's something
Right.
else.
Hey, Zach. I don't mean to interrupt, but did you see on that Project 2025 thing the director of that project,
Let's
Paul
bring it back
Dans?
up.
He went. I just want to make a point. He went. He attended the John Hopkins School of Medicine. That's related to Skull and Bones, right?
Who is the director? It's not the president of
No, it was a guy named Paul Dans. There's not really information. He has a Wikipedia, but the only thing it says is early life education. Dans was a professor at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine.
Yeah, again, that was again. If you don't know, Johns Hopkins was founded by the Skull and Bones member Daniel Coy Gilman, and remember the Georgia Guidestones came down on his birthday anniversary as well as George W. Bush's birthday. The thing about depopulating the world,
And he's
and
also Catholic too. So I see right here he's his
well, look
ancestors'
at
roots
the
are
guy who's the
Catholic
head of
faith.
the Project 2025, or excuse me, the Heritage Foundation. He
Yeah,
also was the head of a Catholic university.
right. Yeah, this guy supposedly, according to Wiki, they're like his ancestors have roots in the Catholic faith. So technically, he is Catholic.
Yeah. Yeah, just
So
another reminder of who's really running the show. The whole fake truth community thinks it's the small
it's
caps.
not Jews. People like to say, I hate that. I hate when they see these people get on here like, it's the Jews. It's the you know who's. It's not the you know who's. It's not the you know who's. It's the Jesuits. It's the
I
Catholic
mean,
Church.
they run things that are obvious. I mean, there's a disproportionate amount of them in government and Hollywood and media, but who's allowing them to be there? It's like they're the barrier that makes it. Again, that's why they're actually there in these disproportionate numbers. They want them there so everyone blames them. It's just like how the
Right.
Catholic Church used them to create their divisive state in the Middle East. It's the same game, and people just haven't figured it out. So.
Right. Oh, and the director's name equals Trump. Literally, Paul Dans. That's his name. His name equals Trump. Literally, 88 and
All Dans,
47,
huh?
25. Yep.
All Dans. Yeah, good one.
Yeah. I don't think he has. I didn't find a birthday because that would be interesting to look how many days that simulation was drawn up as to his
It says he
birthday.
was fired on July 25th.
On the
Interesting date.
25th day of the month.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at that ritual, how that was synced up with the election.
Right. Right. Yeah. I just there's not very much information on him. Yeah, I see it on the screen there. Not very much information on the guy.
Maybe I covered that story when he got fired. Let me go back and look at that. So many things that I cover and I forget, but I think I'm remembering his firing now. Paul Dans. I might have covered it on my Twitter and not actually on my website. I think I remember that being a story though.
Is that a red pill on your logo?
What's that?
Is that a red pill on your logo?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering what that. I was all right.
Yeah, man, we're giving out red pills with big 47s on them almost every day. So.
Yeah, I watched the Matrix.
I remember when Merck put the big 82 on the COVID pill.
His firing was 103 days before the selection. Old Jesuits.
Right, and that's also the 27 prime number to ritual 27. You run it the other way, it's 45. Like Trump was number 45.
Yeah, 27 books in the New Testament. That was the day leaving
159
159 days left in the year, like Donald Trump, 159. Yeah.
July 25th this year was also the 207th, the day leaving 207. Or no, I'm tripping. It's the 207th day of the leap year. Like a lot like 27, right?
207 goes with that's the gematria, the name of the guy who wrote Art of War, Father Amiot.
Right.
Because I started to think about that because I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting that guy's name equals 207 because you write 20th of July, 20/7, which is the 201st day of the year. So I think there's definitely
Right.
something to that. By the way, did you guys notice they said there were 154 million votes in this year's election? And that's 201 is 154, or
That's
201
the
is the
composite.
154th composite number.
Composite, yeah.
So
I think they only use the votes to see how many idiots they still have to believe in this shit.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a litmus
exactly.
test. Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
litmus test.
Be-
It's just hilarious. We got whole channels just like getting all these super chats, talking about these rigged things, these rituals. You got like all these people just invested in this shit, and they're just like, it's just wild. Like you can see all these people getting these super chats, and you come over here, nobody's like, and you're putting out real information, and nobody, like barely anybody's giving any type of super chats. It just, man.
It's
yeah,
okay.
but you
It's
got to
okay. We're doing all right over here. As my trolls know, my trolls are mad about how well we're doing over here. So
Right.
we can
And
get
those
by
people don't
just
have no
fine
life
without the
either.
super chats.
Those people, and I guarantee you, your trolls, instead of spending time, with their people or whatever like that, they're sitting there behind their computer, watching and recording right now. I
Yeah,
guarantee you. So
that's fine. Yeah, they're
you,
getting mad. They're mad at the wrong person.
right,
now they mad at the right person because you get no rewards for being righteous in hell. And
Yeah, that's true.
demons know who you are, and they know who they are. You know, I thought about that too because I think about it like for a long time. Since I would say like 22, I did a lot of trying to teach my family about different stuff and wake them up to a lot of things. And in the end, man, they really pretty much like Jesus, man. They want to crucify you. They hate you for that.
They sure do. They
Yeah.
sure do. They're under this evil mind control, marching to the tune of the Nazi scientists who came over here and figured out how to engineer everyone's minds to just go along with straight up tyranny.
Yeah.
I definitely got to use that next time someone says uses that word. I'm definitely going to use that.
Yeah.
I definitely got to use that because
You can see how it all stems from the same thing. I mean, I'm sure
right.
everyone in this community who's ever pointed something out wrong, they've probably been called a schizophrenic, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
really? I
dude,
can just
I've
health
been
issues
called that a million
for
times.
why?
Dude, I got called that in 2020 when I said they would put Biden there to be number 46 and let JFK dying at age 46 and become the next nation's second Catholic president. And like all my family, if not my immediate family, they're like, dude, that just sounds so like that's so schizophrenic. Like, you really think numbers really play a role in this? I'm like, whatever. I'm like, whatever.
Right.
It's like, and then it happened, and then literally they're like, oh, you just got lucky. It's like, no, that's not luck. That's just knowing how these people operate.
Indeed. Indeed.
Right.
Well, I got to wrap this thing up, gentlemen. If you want to give us some closing words each,
Right.
we'll wrap it up. But CJ, why don't you go first since you got here second?
Closing words, man. Man, if you spent these holidays alone, which is pretty much gaslighting because we ain't supposed to be worried about these holidays anyway. But just man, stay strong, man. And I know if you a man, it would get real lonely because we live in a society that teaches our women to go after dumb men and weak men. But my thing is, keep your head up, brother, and stay strong. Even if you're a female, stay strong. And um, when it all come tumbling down, we'll have to rebuild it anyway. So it's all good.
Indeed. I appreciate those words a lot. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks, CJ.
All right, Ben.
What do you want to say, King?
Well, I do have two things for you to look into. I don't know if you ever watched the Spider-Man. It was a video game that was put out in 2018, September 7th, 2018. Let me see if I can find it here. Try to be really quick with it. And if you look at that, you know what? I, w- I was gonna say if I can send it to you via DM on Twitter. It's a video basically showing this was in 2018. This was 2 years before the pandemic, and there's a poster there that says "Stay home, stay safe."
Huh.
It's
Okay.
just like I don't know if somebody pointed that out already to you, but yeah, it's a Spider-Man video game. Just look it up, Spider-Man 22 or Spider-Man 2018 video game. It came out on September 7th,
It
2018.
reminds me there was some popular video game that also like it's graffitied on the wall, something about like the
Tom
pandemic is
Clancy.
a hoax or something.
Tom Clancy, that's what it was. Tom Clancy Division, that's what it was.
I remember that. Yeah, okay. I remember that.
You know what's funny about that? You bring that up. The name of that bank, equals the Jesuit order in all ciphers.
What do you mean?
Um, the bank, because there's a bank like where it says the virus is a hoax. That's pretty much
Oh,
what
in
it
the
says.
video game, it was on a bank.
Yeah, it was on a bank,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
called
Doesn't that
World
make
Bank
sense?
Group.
All Switzerland where the WHO is and where Trump was. Yeah, it was all a big banker
Yeah,
scam.
the name of that bank in that video game is called World Bank Group. You just look it up. World Bank Group equals the same thing as the Jesuit order, literally in all
World
four
Bank Group.
ciphers. Yep. But and then another thing I want you to look into is a stabbing of a woman. Her name is Nia Wilson. She got killed supposedly on July 22nd of 2018, and her name equals 40. There's more to it, but her name equals 44. But yeah, I wanted you to look into that because I actually know one of the people. I know one of the persons that know her family. So I just wanted you to look into that. Nia Wilson. But yeah, World Bank Group. There it is.
And 201 was the simulation. I mean, how obvious. And Klaus Schwab equals 177, who's the Jesuit who put
All
on
right.
Event 201. Yeah, and again, I guess it's just apophenia again. It's another.
No, I mean
You
no.
have an unlimited data set of like a billion thing. I hate listening to like the critics. Like, what are they saying? I mean,
Or it's just
a
like the one
billion
dude that
things.
told
We're talking about the
it's like
same number over and over and over. I mean,
it's like the one dude that told Jay there's only so many spaces on a keyboard. It's like
he said that to Jay. Jay was talking
yeah,
about 11 years from the
yep,
day the 9/11 thing. He's like, well,
right.
there's only so many spaces on the keyboard.
I'm
I'm
like, what
like,
kind of
oh
argument
yeah,
is that? What kind of
good
argument is that?
rebuttal.
Right.
Debunked. So
These are
yeah,
stupid
you
arguments
can't
too.
fix stupid, man. And I've
Right.
known this since 9/11 happened. I was like, okay, these people are either under a spell or they are retarded. By the way, for all of you guys
Right.
coming here and diagnosing my work with apophenia, I'm about to put on the toddler music again. I would like to diagnose you with what I call SANF syndrome. For everyone who thinks this work's a coincidence, let me introduce you to what you are. You're a SANF. I'm gonna get it published so oh, here it's in the book. It says right here, you're a SANF. What's a SANF? It's a sorry ass mother. And literally, I mean that really is what
Right.
everybody is who thinks this works a coincidence.
Right.
SANF.
And you know what? We bring up the Jesuits, right? And that video game, Tom Clancy with the Division. Tom Clancy is a Jesuit. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I remember seeing your work on his death too, back in 2020. So, uh, yeah, and he also has a text where it pretty much says, the Jesuits are humble about running the world.
Yeah.
So,
I gotta hop off. I hear sweet girl crying in the background, so I gotta
all
switch
righty,
my
man.
mom.
Hey, but appreciate having me on, man. Appreciate
All
it.
right,
Thank
take care, Jay. Or not Jay. Sorry, Richard. Take care, King Richard. My bad.
you. Yeah,
Good
appreciate it,
night,
man.
man.
You have a good night.
All right. Now DK wants to hop on here. I do have to get off DK, so it's got to be efficient. But why are you fighting with Jay? Here, DK, before I even put you on, I just read your comment about making fun of Jay's health. Jay was born with his condition because of the mistakes that his parent made. So to be mocking him for that is ridiculous. Come on, DK. You need to do better. All right. Here's DK. Like all things good and bad, DK Stonewood. What's up, DK?
Hey Zach, what's going on?
What's up, man?
Oh, I wasn't mocking the guy. I gave him some advice that was like 4 sentences about health, and then he made a video, a 50-some-minute video talking shit about what I said. That's all I was saying. I'm not mocking. I don't know what the guy's situation is, but he was just acting like he knew all this stuff, and I'm like, you're not even healthy yourself. You might as well listen to somebody who is. So that was really all that was all about. But I wouldn't have said a word if he didn't make like look at all the stuff you do. When somebody makes a little video about talking shit about you, you'll make a 2-hour video about it. All I did was make a comment, and now I'm the bad guy.
But hey, my rebuttals are fair. You're because you said, how can a guy who's not healthy offer health advice? Well, his health problems stem from something that was beyond his own control.
Well, I mean, still he's still not healthy, though. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
but in a way, there's probably a lot of people who have the same problem as him because they were brought up the same way by their parents who made mistakes, and he can help figure out how to solve those problems for anyone dealing with those ailments. So come on.
Well, that very well may be, and I'm not saying he can't, but just the stuff that he was saying about what I said was bullshit, and like there was just no reason to do that. It's just like, I mean, people talk shit about you. You're not going to sit there and just, keep quiet. You're going to give them at least a little rebuttal. And that's all that was, wasn't.
But hey, you are not Moxie Dimwits in the chat. I thought that was you.
I just had a couple quick things. I haven't been calling in much. But back when the P. Diddy stuff was going on, that was just a cover psyop for the Pact for the Future. I don't know if you ever covered that. Did you cover that? The Pact for the Future was the World Economic Forum. That's basically their, Agenda 2030, and all the countries were signing on to that while the P. Diddy stuff was all going on. I was busy during that time when you were covering the P. Diddy. I never like caught a notification while I was like available, so I didn't call in. But that was the whole thing that was going on. If you look that up, you'll see what's going on with that Pact for the Future. And then everybody's kind of got the Suddenly Susan, the Oprah, the Simpsons with the Trump, and all that stuff. But nobody's talking about when Reagan was president. He met with Trump, and he shook his hand and told him that he should be president and he would do very well. And then he ends up running on MAGA just like Trump. I mean, just like Reagan. I don't know if you cover. I didn't hear you cover that.
I don't think I've ever looked into that. Yeah, I got to look that one up. That is interesting.
And then just recently, you may have covered this one, I'm not sure, but there was on the November 12th, there was all these monkeys that escaped from a zoo. I think it was 47 monkeys, and then they were still
43. We covered that one.
Oh, you did? Okay. And then on the 12th, they were still looking for 12 missing ones they couldn't find.
That's exactly what I said, because I think the building address is 95, or it's on 95th Street or something, and 12 monkeys came out in 95, and so did Outbreak. It's obvious they're paying tribute to those movies.
And that whole Outbreak thing was all about some virus that killed a bunch of people or some shit,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, DK. I appreciate it. I got to hop off though, man, but thank you.
Okay, and congratulations. I don't think I've talked to you since you had your Ruby, right?
Little Ruby.
Ruby. Yeah, congratulations, man. I hope you have a blast with your daughter.
So far, so good. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Has it been fun so far or what?
Well, I'm learning how to live without sleeping, but yeah, it's been fun.
All right. Well, enjoy and good luck, you guys, with everything, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Jay had to come on here and get his rebuttal. And again, Jay, I do have to hop off, but I'm going to let you get into. What's up, Jay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you have to hop off. I just wanted to go ahead and explain, because he's been saying the same thing over and over again, that I'm trying to give health advice. So for one, I'm not giving health advice on things that I don't have experience with, or that I don't have any experience with. The only things that I've given people health advice on is how to curb symptoms of IBS, or a messed up gut microbiome, and also how to prevent kidney stones, because these are things that I have actual experience with, and also how to lower blood pressure and type 2 diabetes, because I have family that have those diseases, and it's just general knowledge that will help with that. But I have never given anybody advice on how to restore their gut microbiome, because I still don't know how to restore mine. I've admitted that I don't know how to restore mine, but what I talk about is not triggering my IBS and not triggering my issues or the bloating and stuff like that by not eating foods that your gut might not be able to break down if you don't have a healthy gut microbiome. That's what I've given advice on, and I explained this to explain how I was able to ease my symptoms, because when I was following the advice of people like DK, who was telling me to eat only plants and avoid meat because it rots in your gut, blah, 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 that stuff was not working. And it was actually only certain plant foods that were rotting in my gut. And that's when I realized that, okay, it's because your large intestine is where a lot of the plant matter gets broken down, because a lot of the fiber and sugars and stuff like that, that stuff isn't even digested by your small intestine like meat is. So this all stemmed from a video where I explained all this, because there was somebody saying that meat rotting your gut, and I was like, it's not the case, because I have a predisposition to foods rotting in my gut. This is how I was able to curb my issues. And I explained that it's only certain plant foods that really have a disposition to rot in your gut. If your gut microbiome isn't in tip top shape like it should be to properly break those foods down. You don't have to rely on gut microbes to break down meat, but you need that for a lot of the fibers and sugars in plant foods. And this is what I started doing research on that was able to help me with my gut. And I simply explained all this, and then he commented. He was like, "No, meat does rot in your gut." And then he started talking about they eating closest to the sun thing, and he didn't just comment 4 sentences. This guy is severely under exaggerating the stuff that he put. He was commenting these long ass paragraphs, like all over my comment section. And then there were also other people that responded as well. So when I made that video in response, I made a video in response to those comments, not towards specifically him. I made a video just responding generally to all of the comments that I got and explain why people were wrong. And I touched on the eating closer to the sun theme, because I know he came to you about that. And I explained to him that it's not that simple. You can't just say, well, the herbivores eat the plants, so why not just skip the middleman, which is what a lot of people say. But it's like this kindergarten child mentality. It's like the existence of a food chain. Obviously, I know that the sun is basically the ultimate source of energy, but that doesn't mean that we can just eat closest to the sun, because that's why a food chain exists. We have to eat the foods that are suited for us to be able to digest with our specific physiology. That's why there's species appropriate diet. So we said, as I responded to DK, I'm like, you can't use that logic, because I get what you're trying to say, but it's not simple like that. That was the quote unquote advice that he gave me. And I'm like, no, of course, yeah, I know that, but that's not how it works. And that's not going to help me fix my issues. I just talked about how I can't tolerate a lot of plant foods because of my gut issues. So you're telling me to do this, and I just explained to you why that doesn't work. So you're like, I just gave you general advice. Yeah, that's the problem. Your general advice isn't going to do anything. It's not going to help me, because I already tried it. I had to do really extensive amounts of research to learn how to ease my symptoms. And I'm just explaining this to him, and I'm like, you can't just say eat closest to the sun, because you can't just go out and eat grass, because that's what they're saying. They're saying, oh, you can just skip the middleman. That's by their logic, I guess. And what I'm trying to explain to DK is like, okay, you're saying this, you're oversimplifying how all this stuff happens, but you're saying we can just skip the middleman, like we can eat the plant foods that herbivores eat, when we can't do that. We aren't ruminant animals. We don't have 4 chambers in our stomach, one of which including the rumen, which is where all the fermentation of the plant matter happens, where we're able to, where the cows, for example, are able to synthesize their own B12. Our physiology is designed to where we cannot create our own B12 that way. We cannot digest grass. So you're saying this, that we can just eat grass, but that's not what we can do. There's the reason why we all have our own specific diets. And this is what I kept trying to explain to him, and he just wasn't getting it. So I had to keep saying the same thing. And then eventually, that's when he started like, he just started like being on this passive aggressive stuff. He started saying, well, you don't look, hell, you're not, I'm probably more athletic than you, blah, blah, blah. You're giving all this advice when you clearly still struggle with your issues. And I'm like, how is he not getting that I'm explaining how I was able to ease my issues by pointing out which things in my diet were triggering my stomach and removing them? And the reason I went so long while having these issues is because I kept listening to people that were just giving general, oh, don't eat the meat because the meat is going to rot. Eat the plants because that's easier on your stomach. And I had to do enough research to actually understand what's going on. The point I'm making to this man is that you, like, when he keeps trying to go against that with this eating close to the sun, that's not you can't have that mentality, because the existence of just because the sun is the highest source doesn't mean you can eat closest to the sun and that's just one size fits all for every species. No, the existence of a food chain immediately debunks that idea and shows that it's not possible, because we cannot. Each species has different things that it can survive on. We each have our own way in which we can process
I hear what you're
stuff from the
saying.
sun.
Again, I think everybody's a little bit different. Sweet lady's yelling at me.
Yeah.
I got to get off.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, I just need to explain that. Yeah, my bad.
All right, but I appreciate it, and thank you everyone who left a super chat. And Marilyn Miller out there, you've left a lot of big super chats. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Just things are getting more and more ridiculous each day, and you've donated a lot. You seriously don't need to donate anymore, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I got to tend to sweet lady and sweet little baby. Have a good night, everybody. Hope you had a nice time with your friends and family today. And if not, if you're an isolated truth seeker, remember you're not alone in that regard. There's a lot of us out here. So until next time, everybody, take care.